then regulate and afterwards flush the feeding tube before all the formula run through the tubing. Then install 50 to 100 ml of the water through the feeding tube or medication port. Then be sure to add water before the feeding solution has drained from the neck of syringe, and afterwards ensure client's comfort and safety by securing the tubing to the client's gown, because this minimizes pulling of the tube, thus preventing discomfort and dislodge. And afterwards, ask the client to remain in Fowler's position, then check the agency's policy on the frequency of changing the nasogastric tube to know if every what are to change the nasogastric tube that is using or while running the feeding. Then next, dispose of equipment appropriately. So if the equipment is to be reused, so we need to wash it thoroughly with soap and water so that it is ready for reuse if there is another session or procedure that we need to use those equipments or materials. Then we need to change the equipment every 24 hours or according to the agency's protocol or based on the hospital's policy. Then wash hands. So remove gloves and wash hands. Next, for evaluation, perform a follow-up exam for the following. So, tolerance of feeding. So, if the client is um, experiencing nausea, cramping, then the bowel sounds, then regurgitation and feeling of fullness after feedings, weight gain or loss, and fecal examination pattern, if there is diarrhea, flatulence, constipation, and even if there is skin turgor, urine output and specific gravity, glucose and acetone in urine, so and glucose and acetone in urine that was for the laboratory test result afterwards if um, we need, so we can ask the client to do it according to physician's order, and then relate findings to previous assessment data if available. Afterwards, report significant deviations from normal to primary healthcare provider that is assigned or in duty. Afterwards, for documentation, we need to document the feeding, including the amount and the kind of solution taken, duration of the feeding, and the assessment of the client. Also, record the volume of feeding and water administered on the client's intake and output record. So we need to record it so that the next shift nurse will know what is going on to the client and what is the procedure prior to his or her shift. So she will know what to do next. And